Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is PT, the Sneaker Preacher, back again with your first word. We are actually doing something different today. Today at First Seventh-day Adventist Church is OWASA Takeover. So I'm here with the OWASA officers, our student leaders for Oakwood Adventist Academy. But I'm not going to do all the talking. I am joined by
Jolene Bovran, I am the chaplain of OWASA.
And Naya Williams, I am the social vice of OWASA.
I'm Eden Roper, I'm the vice president.
And my name is Cameron Garnett, and I am the president of Oakwood Adventist Academy Student Association.
or OWASA.
Or
OWASA, that was good.
Just had to go long there. All right.
You know,
So we are here.
we never formally said what OWASA meant.
We did not. So I thank you for doing it. So they would not spend the next hour confused
wondering
about
what
what
is
is
OWASA.
this? Is it a spice? We don't know. All right. So we are here to talk about relationships. That's right. Everyone's favorite subject. We are going to dive into this. But before we dive, we need you to like, share, and subscribe. That way you can be a digital disciple. That way you can be an electronic evangelist. That way you can be an Apple apostle, sharing the good word of God. And if you are a parent watching this, go grab your children. I know they don't want to sit right beside you and talk about relationships, but let us do the talking.
We promise
for
don't
you.
be good, we promise.
We do.
Make it
We
an
do.
easy
We-
conversation.
I wouldn't have them on here if they weren't going to be good. And if this doesn't turn out right, you may never see it.
Exactly.
On the archives.
But no, we are here to talk about relationships. But first, let's start with the word of prayer. Let's talk to our Lord and our Savior, and then we'll dive right in. Blessed Father in heaven, we thank you for just giving us this time, this space. Lord, we ask that you give us the insight to help someone else have healthy relationships, help us to grow into the relationships that you desire for us to have. In Christ's mighty name we pray, amen.
Amen.
All right, so let's start with this. How do you four define relationship?
You can go first.
Yeah, he popped his head up.
Right.
Don't come double dutch your back down there. How would you define a relationship, Cameron?
So how does Cameron Garnett, the president of the Oakwood Adventist Academy Student Association?
Are we gonna do that every time?
Every
Yeah.
time.
Because like USM says, you have to show them who you are.
Oh, okay. So if it turns out that we don't have any Cameron footage, just because he kept saying what a
The
while.
same thing over and over.
Okay, well, how do I define a relationship?
Yeah. That's the question.
Personally, a relationship to me, and this is only assumption that we're talking about a romantic relationship. Because,
However you want to define it, sir.
okay, because a relationship is any type of connection you have with anyone or anything.
Okay.
Because a relationship does not just have to be romantic. It can be platonic. It can be your family, or it could just be a sentimental relationship you have with like an object per se. So for me, I have a strong relationship with like my watch, because for my birthday, one of my friends got it for me. So I wear it every Monday, every Friday with my formal uniform. And that is a relationship that I have. But then if we're defining it as romantic relationships, because we're trying to make all the parents watching with their kids a little bit awkward right now. Romantic
That's the goal,
relationships.
right?
Yeah. I think that is when you found someone that you feel completely comfortable with, and you feel that no matter what, that person will always have your back.
Okay.
And not because you can have friends that are like that too, but in a romantic way, it's going to feel different, because there are friends you'll do with someone you're romantically involved with that you wouldn't do with your friends.
Yeah, well, I hope so. All right, Jolene, let's swing this way and then work our way back towards the middle.
And then so-
Oh, she has something?
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
I can
go
do
ahead.
it. You can go. Okay, something. So the way how I define a relationship, it can not only, like Cameron said, it doesn't only have to be romantic. It could be a relationship with your parents, or a relationship with a friend, or a relationship like with your favorite pet teacher. Like, I just think a relationship is
Yeah.
no, I mean like a pet, and then she said teacher.
No,
She might be talking about
Like-
you, Pastor Ted. It's my PT.
That's funny. Okay, but anyways, I can say that like when I first was meeting my friends, and these two right here, like my closest friends, I base a relationship off of, oh, well, can we make each other laugh? Can we like trust each other? How comfortable am I with you telling you this or that? And how are you Like, do you listen to what I'm saying? Do I listen to what you're saying? Like, that's a relationship off of like a mutual like understanding of each other and a mutual trust. And like you telling me when I'm in my wrong and I'm telling you when you're wrong. Not to be rude, but just because I love you so much, like that's how our relationship is. Like I want to make you better. So that's just what we do. And that's what I think like the base of a relationship should be.
Because there's nothing worse than fake friends.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yes, like, oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, like, there's really, honestly, I don't think I can add anything much to what they're saying. It's just a connection. I mean, I can try, of course. I mean, a relationship to me is, like Cameron said, a connection between two people where there can be affection. It doesn't have to be affection because I can say I just met somebody and I have a relationship with that person, but it's more of a I know you, you know me type of thing. It's not necessarily a, oh, well, we're buddy or, oh, let's go out and get something to eat type of relationship. Like there's different levels to relationships. So like, whereas with these two girls, I can like kiki haha and laugh up a storm, go out to eat. We could talk about guys. We could talk about people out of school. I mean, not in a gossip kind of way, but like, you know, drama just happen and, you know. So, and whereas with Pastor Taylor, I'm not going to be kikiing and ha-haing and be fake rude with him as I would with my friends. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
you wouldn't. Some other people might.
yeah, some other people may, but not me because I am an excellent student, right?
Yes, you are.
Yes,
You
I'm
are.
an excellent student. So there's different, I would say, levels to relationships. So it can be simple as hello and bye, and it can go as, oh, like I consider you family. That's
Anything you want to add?
Basically what they're saying, I was just gonna say, personally, I think that a relationship is, of course, any type of interaction you have with anybody doesn't necessarily make it a relationship, but I think like Jolene was saying, as the bond continues to grow and it becomes more of a like you're easily able to talk to the person. I think that's when it becomes like a true genuine relationship, because like every student has a teacher, every child has a parent, you know, all those type of things, but it's when it becomes that's my mother and where we talk like we're friends, or that's my not just my classmate, but now this is my best friend. I think that's when it turns into a relationship rather than just being acquaintances or just so happens to share the same last name, that type of thing. I think that's what forms into an actual relationship.
All right, so because we all know the real focus is romantic relationships. So should and when, maybe let me phrase that. When should you start a romantic relationship? Should it be high school? Should it be college? Should it be afterwards? And let's keep it brief.
Yeah. I have a very good Cameron got that. Uncle Diversity.
Oh my goodness.
No, I'm like, that's all I saw. But so we just had a conversation like this with one of our teachers at school, and something she said that really sat with me is she was telling us how she believes in having relationships in high school, because if you get your heart broken, it's easier to handle it and process those emotions in high school rather than be at college by yourself, and that's your first time going through a heartbreak. Because then you're by yourself, your support system is most likely not as strong as when you're in high school, and you're trying to process those very complex emotions that come with having your heart broken.
I personally feel like a relationship or a romantic relationship can happen at any time, but I think it depends on what it involves, because you can have a lot of many, you know, little crushes or little, oh, I think he's cute, I think she's cute, whatever, and it turns into something more than just friends. But it's when we're getting to the sexual acts that should be saved till high school, or even way after, like, you know. But I'm not talking like middle school, elementary, but like, I mean, in middle school, elementary, that's when you start to form crushes and stuff. And in some ways that is considered a romantic relationship. And so I think that can start early on, because like Cameron said, you want to be able to experience that so that when you're looking for your future spouse, you know already what you're looking for, what you're not looking for, or what it even feels like to have a crush or like, or feel affection towards somebody. But it's when it starts to get into the sexual stuff too early on. I think that's
By
when
sexual, what do you mean? Because they're going to ask me.
Gina Moraine, please report to the front.
No, she just. Yes, so go ahead.
What was your question? I'm so sorry.
So could you say sexual stuff?
Oh yeah.
You should save that for high school. So I'm sure somebody's ears just.
I don't think
caught on fire.
a little kiss is a problem, but when we're getting into things that involve taking off items of clothing, I
Not-
think
not
that
in the
is when
space
it
for
needs
Jesus
to,
to
draw the line.
right, that is when it needs to draw the line. I don't wanna give people a deadline, cause everybody can do what they feel like is best. But if we're talking spiritually, I think it's when you and the person are 100% comfortable, you know this could be, or most likely will be your lifelong partner, no doubt about it.
Mhm.
And usually you find that person later on in life, like college, maybe even after college. And so personally, I feel like that would be the time to do it. But I mean, everybody does it at their own time, at their own pace, and there's no judgment. It's just based on what I would think.
So, I think that nothing is wrong per se with having a relationship in college. I just feel like you first, before that even happens, you need to find for yourself what you want and what your boundaries are. Because if you get into a relationship and you don't even know what boundaries you have, then that part that you were talking about becomes harder. It's like, okay, I want to kiss him. Okay, so what now? It's getting kind of boring. Okay,
Right.
so
When
and
there's
then it turns into something more. So if you don't have an understanding of yourself, and you in your head are like, okay, if I kiss him, I know I'm gonna want to do more. So
Right.
that is a boundary that you should have. And for some people, it's not even just kissing; it's just holding hands. You're like, okay, I hold her hand. Now I want to do something else.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of
Self-reflection.
have, you kind of have to have some sort of understanding for yourself, so that when you get into a relationship, you and your partner, and if they are a good partner, then they will respect that and understand that you can be able to say, okay, this is what I can't do because of this, and this is what I am able to do because of this, and I need you to respect that. And I feel like once you have that base understanding, then it makes things a little bit more easier. But I also do think that it's a thing of being taught, because me personally, I feel like I was never taught to have boundaries. So it was a little harder for me in relationships, and then breakups are even more like, they're like 10 times worse, because you feel like, okay, no one told me about this. So, and for the parents watching, this is kind of for you also, so that you can tell your children, like, this is how you set up boundaries, and this is how you can learn about yourself so that you are able to set up these boundaries. Instead of discouraging relationships altogether, you should teach how a relationship or what a relationship should look like, and what are some things that your child or you personally should be doing in this relationship.
Yeah, that's a huge point, because that's a lot of things that go on with teenagers, where like you tell them not to do something and then they do the complete opposite. And I think at least with our age group, like 2006, 2005, 2004, that's a big issue, is that when you tell me not to do it, I'm gonna do it. So then I do it and I get hurt, but I don't know how to process it, and I can't come to you because you told me not to do it. So now I'm like, I'm gonna get in more trouble, rather than you hear me how I'm feeling and what happened in the relationship. It's more like, I told you from the beginning not to, go through all this. But to answer the question, I just had to hop on what she was saying for a second. To answer the question, I personally think high school, like relationship wise, like where you're getting into, like you're going on dates and stuff like that, that's more reserved for high school. Now we all have emotions, we all have endorphins, we all have hormones. More than likely, most of us start liking people around middle school, like 5th grade, 6th grade, right? So of course you're seeing older kids, like it's not like you can be shunned. Like you see your parents, they have that affection, and you're like, okay, well maybe that could be, even though you're young, like this,
It's
you
still
do what
something
you
that-
see,
yeah.
you know what I mean? So you see all of that and you're like, okay, well maybe. And so you start considering. So I think high school, and also maturity, I think is a big thing, because no offense, but there are some people in high school who shouldn't be dating. Like maturity wise, you're not ready for that. That's just me though, but to each their own. But that's personally me. I think high school, you're trying to find yourself, like Karen was saying, our teacher was telling us. I think you're trying to find yourself, you're trying to see what you want, what you don't want, what you look for. Like test out the waters now, so you're not necessarily wasting your time, but also put your academics first. Like don't let a relationship determine, be your future. Like it's not guaranteed that person's going to be there at the end of the 4 years. So.
I'll get to you in just a second. I would just add, from both sides of it, is just, if you have to sneak to do it, then you probably shouldn't be doing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you have to,
Paranoia is a real thing.
yeah,
For a
if
reason.
you have to sneak
Hear
to
the
do
little
it,
voice
and
in your head.
that whatever phase of your relationship intimacy is, if you have to sneak to get a kiss, if you have to sneak to hold hands, if you have to sneak to go to the movies, if you have to sneak, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. And just for the sexual part, which is why I wanted you to clarify that, because we don't consider it that way, but kisses are sexual. Certain touches are sexual, and then there's of course intercourse. Somebody's head probably just exploded right there, but but in reality, these are conversations
Yeah.
that need to be had,
Yeah.
and a lot of us are learning from videos, from
Yeah.
wherever, and that's false information.
Exactly.
I
Right,
say more
so-
than they should too. actually.
Way more than they should.
And
Yeah.
I think
So-
as parents, I think as parents, I feel like it's also good to remember that you were in high school and college once too. And the same things that we're going through, the same thoughts and feelings that we're having, you had them at one point too. So don't just shy away from telling your kids about it and helping them through it, because if you just tell them, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, because you don't want them to make the same mistakes that you did, we don't know what to do with that, and we just feel like we should go behind your back, and then when we're hurting or we're confused or we overstepped our boundaries without even realizing it, we have no one to go to because we
Yeah.
didn't have that safe space to talk to our parents. Sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
and like with what Eden was saying, what Pastor Terry was saying, parents, it's really big that you are open with your child about these conversations, because we live in a digital age, and
It's really
if
easy.
a
Access.
child feels like they can't go to you for advice, they'll look it up
Or ask their friends.
or ask.
That's not a
and
very good thing either.
more times
And all
than
their friends
none,
doing is looking it up.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's
Exactly.
Just,
So
just
it's a triple
continues-
effect.
Yeah.
more times than none, they're gonna get the wrong advice.
Mhm.
But I had a question for you, Pastor Ted.
Mhm.
Because we're all teenagers, we can only talk about it from the teenager perspective, but you're a parent. So what was your rule for your children?
So the first thing is my wife and I talked about our relationship from the time that they could hear. Right, so they came up with 2 ears so they could hear.
And both were working.
Yeah, so we talked about our relationship. So we let them see us be affectionate. We let them see that.
how it started.
Yeah, how our relationship started, but also I love your mother, so I'm physical touch. So you will see me hold mommy a lot. You will see me hold daddy a lot. So we let them see love first in our house, what it looks like. But then as our son started dating first, he had met a girl online. He was going to go meet her at the movie theater. He's like, okay, when you're in the dark.
A lot of things.
Sometimes you wonder where your hand is supposed to be, right?
Right,
Yeah,
yeah,
so we just walked him through all of those things. So because there's that little electricity when it's your first real day. It's like, oh, I'm holding her hand. Oh, I want to put my arm around her. Oh, when do I kiss her? So we kind of walked him through that, as you guys were saying that because you want to hear that from somebody who you trust,
Right.
but who also trusts that, okay, because I prepared you,
Right.
you're ready for your first date.
And you know.
Because we've talked about it, you're ready to go to banquet or prom. You've had these discussions along the way. So I would say that's the main thing. We talked about it nonstop, still to this day.
Yeah, and parents walking your children through, and as a young man, I say this especially as a young man, it's very important to walk your children through those types of stuff, because as a young man, you need to know what you're doing, because you can very easily land yourself into some serious trouble. And then that leads to young women knowing how to speak up for themselves, how to defend themselves, because a lot of times something can start out as looking innocent and very quickly turn to something dangerous. So young men, it's about, and this is what my parents have been telling me, never disrespect yourself and never disrespect her. Because once you start disrespecting her, you've crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed.
And I just want to add to that, and we'll move on. If you feel like you are being disrespected, don't fear them leaving you to keep them. Does that make sense? So a lot of us are so enamored or even in love, we think, with somebody, and like, oh, but if I don't, somebody else will, and then I'll lose him. Or I'll lose her, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
Pressure.
I've seen where that comes from is when you like somebody so much, you think that everybody else sees what you see in that person. So it can lead to a lot of fear of other people trying to
Take that
quote
from
unquote
you.
take that person
Mhm.
away from you, and it can lead to you wanting to compromise to
Mhm.
keep that person. But and we just talked about this beforehand. It's about depth. If you have depth with the person that you're talking to,
Mhm.
just because somebody else is talking to them, you won't get jealous, you won't get afraid,
Mm-hmm.
because you know, in the end of the day, you two feel something so strong for each other that nobody
Nobody
else.
else can.
And you know that it's real.
Yeah.
So let's kind of switch to that. How can we know that our relationship is real, or our love for this person is real, and their love for us is real, versus we're just being manipulated or we're just infatuated? How can we know?
I can answer you
Okay,
guys.
I was gonna say, me personally, when it comes to relationships or liking a person,
Mhm.
I think privacy, especially in the early stages, is a huge thing
Mhm.
because then you're not influenced, pressured by the voices of your friends
Mhm.
or other people online and what they think about the relationship or what they think about the person. Like, it's just you and them. So only you and them know what's going on.
Mm.
And I was telling somebody, I was like, anybody in the world can say something about whether they dated the person
Mhm.
or they know the person, like they're friends with the person, they know how they act.
Mhm.
Only you two know what's going on.
Should be
So I
Mhm.
think that's, me personally, I don't know if that necessarily says that it's real, but keeping it private in the early stages so you know how the person is one-on-one,
Mhm. Mhm.
that so you can get to see the real them and you're not hearing the opinions of his friends
Mhm.
or my friends
Yeah.
in what we got going on.
Okay.
Exactly. I know it's cliche, but I would just say like being comfortable with the person. Like that's the biggest thing. When you feel like you can literally be the way you are when you're
Mhm.
around the people that you're closest to, when you can feel that way around that one person, to me, I feel like that's when you know it's real. And also when you know, when you can see that they're respecting your boundaries and
Mhm.
also respecting your ideas and your opinions on things
Mhm.
without getting angry at you for them or making you feel bad about them. If they make you feel bad, it's not worth it. Like at any way, shape, or form. Like even before you start dating, even if it starts as a friendship, and during that friendship, there are times when they make you feel bad. They say things that hurt your feelings. Like they call you a name that's like out of pocket. That's when you know it's not like. There's usually some underlining something that they have against you that I never want to even get there. When I feel disrespected, I just don't even try to make it into anything else. So I would say when you feel comfortable and when they're respecting you for who you are.
And that's self-respect too. When
Amen.
you respect
Yeah.
yourself and
Enough to know that
Yeah.
they shouldn't even have the power to affect you because it doesn't even mean anything. You know what I mean?
And, and being comfortable with another person, it goes back to that very old thing that says you have three faces: the face you show to the world, the face you show to the people you're most comfortable with, and the face that you show to yourself.
Mhm.
I think personally that there's a fourth face that you show to the person that you love the most.
Mhm.
And if you feel that you don't have that face, or you feel that you can't share that face
Mhm.
with someone that you're supposed to be like in love with,
Mhm.
then I think the number one thing is always communication.
Mm.
You should communicate the fact that you're feeling like, oh, I feel like I have to be reserved around you, or I feel like I can't be myself to make you happy.
Yeah, have to hide this part.
Or can't say how you
Yeah.
really feel about something
Mhm.
they did. Like you should be 100% comfortable with saying what you said or what you did that kind of hurt me a little bit. Like let's talk about it. You
Mm.
shouldn't feel ever like scared to have a conversation.
So let me ask you this: when should you say I love you?
I think.
Mm-hmm.
And this
She woke up on that.
Yeah.
She was leaning. She was leaning like the last minute.
No, I mean,
I think.
but
Go ahead.
I think personally, and this is something that I've kind of battled with because at first I think in middle school I had like my first crush and he said I love you the third day.
Oh my
And I was like,
the third
I'm
day is crazy.
I'm like 13. I'm like 13. I'm like, oh, okay, I love you too.
Oh,
I did
yeah.
not know. I did not know what it
Yeah.
meant. I was like,
Mhm.
then by the time at lunch, you hand me a lunchable. It's like, okay, I love you too.
Right.
Like you know. So it was just thrown around so
Yeah,
loosely.
this is the oldest
That's so-
13-year-old.
Yeah.
Girl, I bought you a lunch.
It's a lunchable.
I love you.
Never forget me.
So,
I'm gonna take care of you.
but yeah, I just think, and I love you should be. I don't know. I feel like it should, because how I used to base it on is you don't say it to me, I'm not saying it to you. And that was only like as I got older
Mhm.
and because of like things that I've gone through and because of not trusting people, it's like, okay, I may feel like I love you, but I'm not gonna say it until
You know for sure.
because I love you is just the words.
Mhm.
Feeling love for somebody is different.
Mhm.
Because I can feel love for you and never say it.
Mhm.
And you may think that I don't love you, but I do. I just don't say the words.
Mhm.
So I feel like it's more so off of your feeling and when you're sure that this person deserves those words, I
Mhm.
love you, then and you're comfortable saying it.
Mhm.
Because these are my friends. I don't really say I love you often to them, but they know I
Yeah.
love them, and I think I said it to you guys, but like it's
Oh my
just-
goodness.
It's just and some people just really aren't like words of affirmation just really aren't their thing.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like it's nice to hear I love you. So I just feel like whenever you feel like okay, I want to say that, and some people don't even think it's a big deal, but for
Mhm.
me, and I love you is
It's
a big
huge-
step.
Mhm.
So I just feel like whenever you feel okay, yeah, I really like this person, we're in a relationship,
Mhm.
like I love you.
I
Then
think
it's
I don't know. I feel like in the moment, like there are certain things. I don't know if this is because like I watch rom-coms, but like I feel like it's happened with her. Well, I've known her for like the longest time. But I met her 3 years ago, and I think it wasn't until we were doing something, and like we're just laughing, like kikiing, hi, and I'm like, I really love this girl, like so much, like
Yeah.
I consider her my sister. Like there's like I know we're talking about romantical type of love, but like there's like different people where like I can say, oh, I love you, PT, but that isn't like it's not the same type of love that I might have for another.
yeah.
That makes sense. Does that
Oh, she huge you.
I like that, BT.
Stop.
You
Not
are
us.
not like that.
Not us.
But what I'm saying is
No,
like
I-
there's
yeah,
different
the bond
like
is different.
yeah, the bond is different. So like well, PT may be my favorite teacher, like
You say that on camera now.
I mean,
It's okay. They already know.
What
Alright,
you
guys.
said about my mom?
Oh my goodness. But yeah, that's like I feel like there's just different types of
Yeah, it
loves and bonds that you can have with a person.
Mhm.
And I feel like it isn't until like you're in a certain moment. Now that's not to say that y'all's love won't bring challenges. Like love will bring challenges. Like of course it'll bring challenges. So I think that's personally like that's when you'll know to say I love you, like you'll feel it like in the moment. And I think also that I wanted to say, I think it was like an earlier point, is that just because your relationship has longevity doesn't mean that it's necessarily love or true love, because we've seen it time and time again. I'll just use celebrities as examples, where they'll be in a relationship
And we'll think it's like.
and we'll think it's the most amazing thing. I don't know if y'all watch. But if you know who I'm talking about, you think from the outside it's just the most amazing thing, and then they come out and they're like, "Oh yeah,
There was no love in it to begin
there
with.
was no love."
We haven't been
It was
married
like
in
in a
16
years,
years.
yeah. Like we were there just for like the money or whatever the case may be. So also like
They were
Just-
a rap lyric too.
it-
Like,
just know,
Oh, yeah.
you and your girl got a rap lyric, and
Mhm.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like just because like it made there's that well, we've been married for 30 years.
Mhm.
Like I was talking to my aunts about it. Like this is crazy that people in like the older generation, like 60s, 70s, some of them remained married because it was it was convenience or it was frowned upon to be divorced during that time. So they're like, okay, well let's just stay together. But there really was no love. So I think I know this sounds crazy, but when I see like people who are like they not just met each other, but they've started dating for like 3 months and they say I love you, I don't really find that crazy unless like you really don't know that person. But like you know that person and you really I feel like time doesn't really equate to what love is.
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna.
me. Go ahead.
oh, and I don't want to.
No, you're fine, you're
Something quick, especially with romantic relationships, that line of when to say I love you can become so blurred when you've been friends beforehand.
Yeah.
Because you can love that person
True.
as a friend, and then you start talking romantically,
And the love just grows.
and the love grows, and you're saying, when you said to yourself, when do I tell them I love them romantically
Mhm.
and not just as a friend?
Especially if you're a
Yeah.
person who said it a lot
Yeah.
or frequently as a friend.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and then
Oh,
now
I
it's-
love you, and it's like, but it's different.
Yeah.
It's like the love, like the words "I love you."
Deep breath.
Right. He's pondering, y'all. Pondering.
The words "I
Heavy
love
on your heart. Go ahead, sir.
they're very powerful, but you don't just want to waste them, and you don't just want to hold on to them for too long
Exactly.
because
And that's the balancing act. When, right? Go ahead, continue. Yeah.
so I was just saying, I was thinking it's like when you ask someone every morning how they're doing.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, I'm fine.
Mhm.
But let's say you don't ask anyone any morning how they're doing, and you ask them one day, and that's just the day where they're just like, have a great guy, and I
Mhm.
needed somebody to talk to.
Waiting on somebody to say. Mhm.
I love you is so powerful, but some people like to just say it all the time, and
Mhm.
it loses its meaning.
Mhm.
But
Mm.
if you say it when you mean it, and you
Right.
mean it when you say it,
Yep.
those words will never lose their true
Mhm.
meanings.
Mhm.
And it comes down to emotional maturity
Mhm.
and knowing yourself. Because if you don't know yourself, how are you gonna know when you love somebody?
Exactly. I was just gonna say literally what y'all were saying, just when it comes naturally. Like Jolene said, when you're in a moment where you guys are doing good and you think about all the times that you've had with them and you're like, wow, I really love this person.
Mhm.
When it comes naturally for you, I think that's when you say it. Now, I don't want to spark a new conversation, but I personally do think that even if somebody says I love you first, if you're not ready yet, you don't have to
You
say
don't
it
have
back.
to.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
sure.
personally don't think you have to, especially because there's such a big, I think you mentioned that, there's such a big thing that like, oh, after 4 months, that's when you say I love you. And I'm like, why is there even a timeline for a
Mhm.
relationship? Because like you said, if you've been friends with somebody, and like, why should it matter when you say it? And I think it varies depending on the relationship, because I may not feel love in 4 months, but I'll feel it in a year. Like, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the relationship, it's
saying
just everyone is different. You know
And
what I mean?
saying it when you're not ready does more harm.
It does, just
Because
because they
then-
said it, yeah.
Then you're saying, "Oh, I love you," and then it just becomes a thing in your head.
It
Oh,
loses
okay.
its meaning.
Yeah, it loses its meaning.
Yeah.
Now, don't wait.
Lunchables.
Now, don't wait 10 years to tell this person.
Yeah.
At that
If
point,
somebody's waiting 10 years, don't stick around.
Yeah.
that too.
And-
Don't
and
waste
on-
your time.
On top of that,
That's
how about that? If someone says I love you to you, and you are not in the place yet to say it, and they get mad,
Oh.
Red
no.
flag.
come on.
Red
Red
flag.
Red flag.
Huge
But also
flag.
ask why.
Yeah.
Like if you're in a relationship and you're like, I'm not there yet. So what is it that makes you love me?
You love me.
What do you mean that you love me?
Oh, yeah,
I really
asking
love spending
why.
time with you. Okay, you like my company, but
Yeah.
do you love me?
What do you love about me?
Yeah.
Right.
Asking why, that's also.
Yeah.
Also
And
very
PT, I have a question for you. So when was do you remember the exact moment you said I love you to Mr. Taylor?
or when you
Mhm.
felt
Or
it
when
the
you
first
felt,
time?
yeah, the first time that you felt.
'Cause you know love is an action.
Felt it is a little earlier than saying it, and I said it accidentally. We were, and I'll try to be brief. We were in Taco Bell, which was her favorite restaurant.
Yo quiero taco.
we were leaving, and I asked her something, and I was like, "Yo, I'm out here loving you," and da 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 da. And she's like, "You love me?" And so I was like, "Hey, yeah, I did kind of say that out loud." Like, you know, but that's what it was. It was the first time I acknowledged that I am in love with this person. So you know what I'm waiting on. Like, yeah, no, like I need to hear I love you too.
Right. She's like,
She's like, "Who's burrito?"
With that
So she said it a little later, but she didn't say it fast enough. Okay. But again, she had to come to that realization for herself. Like, yo, I really do.
I would say
Yeah.
also understanding like who you're dating, especially like now there's like a lot of things around mental health and like going to get therapy, working out your trauma, whether it be family, whether it be church hurt,
Mhm.
whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Understanding like, yes, you can say that you love me, but I was a bit like my parents said they loved me and they hit me, or my parents said they loved me and they left me, or or
Mhm.
the people in the church said they loved me and then something happened and then I was ambushed out the church. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think understanding like where they come
That
from
is
too
very-
and waiting for them
that's
to like
huge.
open up. Like I said, I'm not saying wait no 10 years now,
Mhm.
but
yeah.
I'm saying take your time with the person, get to know who you're courting, who you're dating. So
That's very,
That's
very
huge.
important.
I forgot about that.
What y'all is saying, parents, there's never a time to tell your children that you love them. You should be telling your children that you love them all the time.
Don't just think that they know because you're their parent. Because
Yeah.
sometimes we just
Or
need to
like,
hear
I
that.
gave you a house.
Yeah,
Like-
That's not,
Yeah,
that's
that's
not
not-
saying I love you.
You
I
need
put
to
food on
show
the
it
table and
Yeah,
say
yeah,
it
yeah.
all, like as
Provision
much
is
as
not-
you
is
can.
not- yeah.
I've tried to do better at saying it before I go to sleep
Mhm.
and before I leave the house because I
Yeah.
think sometimes you just get so wrapped up in the
Mhm.
morning or in
Mhm.
the night or even you. I know some teens, come on y'all, we have little arguments with your parents and you don't really want to say it then,
Mhm.
but always say it because you don't know when it's supposed to be the last
Yeah.
time and you don't
And-
want to regret it. Like,
And
Yeah.
what Jolene said was really, really big about understanding who you're dating, because then it makes things a little easier when you understand
Yeah.
what their trauma is, like what their triggers are, and that also shows. And it's also another thing of maturity,
Yep.
because then you understand why they act a certain way when you say something, or why they act a certain way on when something happens to them,
Yeah.
so that you're not at a loss, and so that they are not at a loss, and you can understand each other, and the relationship is better when you do understand why.
Well, that's good because if I have a certain expectation attached to I love you, and so you finally say I love you, then I'm thinking you understand my
Yeah.
expectations.
Yeah.
I'm thinking you understand like, oh, okay, so you're gonna answer every time I call.
Yeah.
You're never gonna leave me on red.
And you're ready
You're
to
never
say,
gonna
"Hi,
yeah.
have babies."
Yeah, you're- yeah.
Wait, let's go. Yeah.
So make sure that you know who you're with. Make sure you understand their expectations of love, both traumatically. I mean, the traumatic side of it being done the wrong way, but also the positive side. Like, what does this really mean to you when you say I love you, and what does it mean for you to hear me say it back? That'll make it a lot healthier relationship,
Yeah.
more
What were you gonna say?
healthy relationship.
I don't remember.
It's all right.
Sorry, I just heard about
No,
this.
you guys made such amazing points because it's like love, and I love a lot of people. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say.
Big struggle.
Oh.
Love, I love a lot of people.
Yeah.
No, that's not it.
I was gonna say.
All right, so you were saying about your statement about love. Finish that.
Oh, I was going to say, like as young Black men specifically,
Mm-hmm.
we don't really say. Well, men in general don't really
Mhm.
say or hear the
Mhm.
word love a lot. But I can say I really appreciate like my father and my brother because we all understand that we love each other. And we don't have to say it often, but when we say it to each other, we mean it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very important. Like fathers, just saying you love your son can go a long way.
Mm-hmm.
And saying, I know this is what we're talking about, but one of the biggest things in relationships is also relating to them that you're proud.
Mm-hmm.
That's big too.
No, that is huge.
So that's where I'll leave it.
Yeah, no, I think that is crucial. I was like, I don't know, a couple years ago, I had a friend that like every time we saw each other, he'd be like, I love you. And at first I was like,
Okay.
because I never outside of my
Yeah.
like even with my cousins that I grew up with, they'd be like, I love you, boy. And
it's just
we
it.
would walk away.
Yeah.
Right. And so for him to just stand flat footed, look me right in my face, be like, I love you.
I love
It was kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Right? But then I thought about it, it's like I should be able to say that.
Yeah.
We should be able to hear that.
I
Yeah.
think saying you're proud of your friends is a big deal
Mhm,
too, especially when, because a lot of times with your friend, you went through whatever they went through
Mhm.
with them because
Mhm.
you're their friend and
Yeah.
they had
Exactly.
you there to support them. So being able to tell your friend, oh, I'm proud of you
Mhm.
for going through that and
Yes.
making it out strong, I think that's huge too. So that's
Yeah,
my
it
point.
is. No, but that's an excellent point. Excellent point. All right, so if you are, we talked about how do you know love is real,
Mhm.
defining the relationship, boundaries, and all of that, and you're now comfortable saying I love you. You've heard I love you back. So should you still be looking at other people?
I'll take this.
I
Me personally, no.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm not saying that you're not gonna look at someone and say, okay, they're fine. Like there are attractive people outside of the person that God designed for you in this world. Like we all know that. However, me personally, if I'm dating you or I'm married to you or in a relationship, I feel like there should be a sense of loyalty even when it comes to looking at other people. Now you can look in your head, be like, okay, well that person's attractive, but you need to realize where home is.
Okay.
Mm.
And
That's
that is
huge.
moi.
That is
Okay, that is me. So I
Okay.
think understanding that,
Mhm.
like, don't come home and be like, well, babe, I saw a cute girl, or bring it up in an argument.
Yeah,
like,
that-
well,
that
I could be
is-
with any other chick that I want to
No,
be with,
Mhm.
but I'm here with you. Like,
Mhm.
so now it seems like I'm a consequence instead of your
Oh,
home,
right.
your
Mhm.
peace.
Or like that guy who in his wedding vow said, I know you're not the most beautiful or the smartest. Or
Oh,
something.
Yes.
yeah.
Like, don't say that.
Don't say
And I'm
that.
supposed to be not the best thing that happened to you in the world, but one of the best things that's ever happened to you, and vice versa.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
So me personally, if I'm in a relationship with you, of course, our eyes, we're not blind.
Mhm.
We are gonna see other attractive people.
Mhm.
However, should you act on it? Absolutely not.
Mhm.
I feel like that should be like an
Easy.
added commandment.
Easy.
It isn't. Do not commit
Mhm.
adultery. That's a
Mhm.
It
commandment.
is. The Bible says.
So just understanding that, there's you can see, but don't think lusciously of that person, if that makes sense. Because you have somebody you can think lusciously at home right next to you.
Lusciously,
Lusciously.
lustfully.
Same thing. You get what
And
I'm
now
trying
if they
to
lust you,
say.
then you might get lustful. Yeah.
You see what I'm trying to
Yeah, I
say.
do, I do.
But yeah, just trying to you're with me. There's no need to wonder.
Right.
I'm right here with you.
Mhm.
I'm right by your side. So I think understanding that, of course you have eyes, but no, thank you.
Mhm.
Don't. That doesn't mean coming to you and being like, oh, I saw another fight man at the market today.
Mhm.
What good does that do him and what good does that do me? So.
That's
But
gonna
yeah,
make so much sense.
I agree with Jolene, and I feel like it's also another thing of security. Okay, so obviously you're gonna find sometimes everyone's different. Some people are like, no, I don't find no one else attractive, blah 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 blah.
I don't see anybody.
But sometimes we're human. Yeah, okay, I can acknowledge. Okay, he's attractive, but he's not like my man though.
Mhm.
That's my dude. Like
Mhm.
no
Mhm.
one should be competing with the person that is with you.
Yeah.
No one should have to, and you should not have to feel like you're competing for your person's eyes.
Right.
You should not have to feel like that.
Exactly.
And like Jolene said, you know where home's at. Because if you got a loyal girl, if you got a loyal man by yourself that's at home waiting for you, and you're out here looking at other people, it's one, I just feel like that's disrespectful.
Yes.
And then
No loyalty.
two, if you got a good person, stick by
Right,
that.
exactly.
Like there's that, you have that.
Yeah.
But I'm not in any way saying that it's wrong, you should feel bad. No, okay. He's handsome, but
Doesn't matter, yeah.
that's not my dude. Like you can't that person would never ever be able to compete with him.
Don't act on the thought.
Yeah.
Mm.
So for the next
Yeah, because it struck you like.
Yeah.
Oh, but
I got 2 points.
Let him go first, because he got something
I got
to
2
say.
Oh, it's
things
2 points.
to say.
Yeah.
2 points. 2 point. Listen, if you're seeing someone and you think they're handsome, that's lust. That's not love, because you get a
Handsome?
connection. Okay, I'm talking because they were saying handsome. For me,
No. I'm saying if they think someone, I'm trying to clarify. If they just think someone is handsome, it's lust.
No, not lust. What I'm saying, that's just physical appearance. That's
Oh,
just-
okay, gotcha.
It's just outward things. You've built such a connection
Mhm.
with the person that you're actually with,
Mhm.
that just because somebody's handsome or beautiful
Mhm.
doesn't mean that they can outdo all that connection that you have. Or
Yeah.
outdo. Yes.
Mhm.
And to end my point,
Mhm.
you might drive by a mansion, but nothing's better than coming home and sleeping in your own bed.
Mm.
Amen.
That's real.
That's
Amen.
amen.
That's real. Come on.
You got anything to say?
No, I was just gonna say basically what y'all are saying. I mean, you're going to be able to acknowledge that a person is attractive. That's how it works. It's all you can say, oh yeah, she's pretty, oh yeah, he's handsome or fine or whatever.
Mhm.
But like y'all are saying, it shouldn't even matter, because whoever you're with, it shouldn't even matter. Like it shouldn't really matter what they look like. That shouldn't be the only reason why you're with them.
Mhm.
And so therefore seeing somebody else who you think is attractive shouldn't even matter, because like Cameron said, you already have a bond and a relationship and feel comfortable with your partner. And so regardless of what this person looks like and compared to him or whatever, it shouldn't even be a competition or a comparison, because you have everything you need with that person.
I have a question, like not necessarily a question, but like a question, but I don't know how accurate it is. Isn't it like, well, this isn't true for all people because obviously people cheat, like
Mhm.
that's the thing.
Oh,
So what I'm asking is like, doesn't like something shift in your head where like when you get in a relationship where like if you were single, you would have been like, okay, like you would have thought differently than
Yeah.
when you are in
Yeah.
a relationship. Like chemically doesn't like Do something
Chemically.
There is a science. So you see, like, I just don't know.
like, doesn't it do something like to your head? Like, whereas, like, if I'm single and I'm like, oh, he's cute.
Right.
Whereas, like, in a relationship, I'm like, okay, yeah, he's cute, but
But,
he
like-
might not be. Or like, it's just,
You start to think about all the negatives.
yeah, like they're not as intriguing as they would be if you were single.
So if you're in a relationship that is lasted any amount of significant time, that person has become what they call the schema or the filter that you filter everybody else through. And so you'll see somebody and you'll say so-and-so is cute, so-and-so's but, right? Like there's something missing that your person has when you're still actually in love with that person.
Yeah.
What happens when people cheat is they start to look at what's missing from their person and then try to find that in someone else. So that's why I specifically said the word look, because it's wrong to look at other people. We see other people all the time, but it's different when you're starting to go look. You're
Search
seeing,
for it.
seeking
That's when it becomes
something
wrong.
outside of
Yeah.
what you already
That
have.
means you're lacking something.
That
You
depth.
don't feel like you don't
Right.
care about the relationship enough to talk about it
Mhm.
or even try to
Mhm.
fix it or change something about you or that person. Instead, you're ready to just move on, which is not.
Or even if
That's-
you're not phically moving on, psychologically
Yeah,
you're
you're ready.
moving on.
Like mentally,
Yeah.
you're no longer
And
You're,
that's
allowed.
kinda-
you're
and-
replacing that person.
And, you wanna go?
I said, well, it's just one thing, and that's what I kind of don't understand about cheating, because if you don't, okay, if there's something lacking about that person, then does it become like, for me, I'm just like, if we're in a relationship, do you want to go see other people? Okay, cool, let's break up. I'll go my
Yeah, I
separate
don't
ways.
feel like staying
and you
with
go.
that person.
So does it?
Yeah.
So this is kind of a question for you. So then, do you think for men, does it become an attachment issue, trying to detach from the person, or does it become
Like
I just want two girls and that's
while
just
they'll
that, that's
stay
just it.
while they stay in the relationship and then seek somebody outside the relationship.
Instead of just
So even
breaking it off.
if you look at it biblically, the first person to have two wives in the Bible is Cain's grandson, right? And he had two wives. One was beautiful, one was nice. And so a lot of
That's an ugly, is that what you're saying?
and so
Well, she had a great personality.
and so a lot of times, to use an old term, people know where their bread is buttered. So they'll know that this person takes care of me. This person comes to all my games. This person supports me amazingly. But and whatever that follows, that's the reason they go look for the person that does whatever the butt is.
Okay.
And so a lot of times, and especially, and I don't want to paint men with a particular brush, but a lot of times men are looking for the thing that their significant other doesn't do that makes them feel less a man. So I feel less a man because you won't do this. Whatever that thing is, that validates my manhood. And so now I'm seeking Tata Halicious because she makes me feel affirmed in this area a lot of times, right? And so a lot of times with ladies, it's the other side. It's the emotional piece that's missing. He makes me feel supported. He makes me feel secure, right? So a lot of times a guy will think, oh, I gave her a house, I gave her a car, I gave her this, I take her out to, but emotionally, she doesn't feel secure. Emotionally, she doesn't feel stable. So that'll be off the time.
It's so disappointing that cheating happens as often as it does. Because if people would just take time out of their day to tell someone,
I love how you got your Dr. Phil voice on too. If people would just take time out of their day.
because in the end of the day,
Yeah. Go
you
ahead.
fell in love with this person at one point in time.
Mhm.
And if somebody you truly fell in love with them, because I have a personal belief that love never really goes away fully. You always feel some sort of connection to this person. And if this person truly fell in love with you at one point in time, you communicating the fact that you don't feel affirmed in this area will be something that they'll look to fix. And it won't end the relationship because relationships are 100-100. And you gotta fight for them.
No, that's real.
You can't just, oh, well, this is working well, goodbye.
Well, I have
But what
a
I do
question.
want to
What
add
if-
before you go ahead, don't forget your question. What I do want to add is certain relationships have an expiration date.
Yes.
Every relationship will end until the one that's not supposed to.
Just said some might be dead.
No, I'm saying though, like till death do us part. Like some
Yeah.
relationships,
Yeah,
not
I
until
get
Yes,
you.
but
It
no.
was very important.
Sorry.
Like like there is the rare occasion for the people who met in 8th grade and they're still together 30 years
Pastor
later.
Lee.
Right? Yeah, no, Pastor
Yeah.
Pastor Lee and
Amen.
Sister Lee, right? But that's the exception, not the rule. So a lot of times we go in with marriage commitment, and it's only
you're
9th
12
grade
years
emotional
old.
maturity.
Yeah,
you know what I
like,
mean? Like,
yeah.
yeah. So we do have to have that kind of understanding
Because
working
You're
in the
gonna grow
background,
up.
but we should be 100 at whatever level we are.
Or like circumstance will lead to the end of it.
Mm.
But I have a question for that. Don't forget your question. I was always taught that when you're going into a relationship, okay, maybe not 9th grade, but like 11th grade, 12th grade, when you're going into a relationship, you should be looking for like the potential of seeing that person, in my case, as a husband.
Mhm.
So like, I'm not, like, what's the point of me just dating you for a fun time? Because like, what exactly, like me, I plan to not do anything until marriage,
Amen.
right? So that's me. So what's the point of me dating you if I don't see you as the person that I'm gonna
Yeah.
can I answer that
I see that.
relationship?
I think that is a good mindset to have going into everything, in the sense that whatever relationship you have, if we go back to the square one,
Mhm.
relationship could be any type of relationship,
Mhm.
friendship, bond with anybody. You should be, as you're growing and as you're forming these relationships, you should also be finding things that you like in a person and that you don't like in a person, things that you will tolerate in a friendship and things that you absolutely will
Of
not
course.
because it hurts you. And so I feel like that's when it becomes, yes, I'm looking for a partner, but not necessarily like I'm 12 and I'm dating this person, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
get married to him.
Yeah.
But also in the fact that when you start dating somebody very young, you're gonna grow with that person. And if it's God's will for you guys to end up together, you will grow together and you will make your way back to each other in the end. But that's not always the case, because
Right.
if you're starting out at a level of maturity that is not anywhere near it's gonna be in 10, 5, 10, whatever many years, when you actually are deciding to marry that person, that's when it shifts a little bit. And so like, even though yes, I'm hoping to marry this person, we're also 13, 14, or we're also even 16,
No, I'm
17,
just saying-
17, 18, and in 5, 6 years it won't be the same.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, going into the mindset of, oh, I'm just going to like, I don't know if there's certain words I can use on here, but I'm just saying, like, going into the mindset of like, oh, I'm just gonna do relations with you and then leave.
Mhm.
Like that, those are the type
Mhm.
of things that I'm thinking about. Like, I'm not going. If the relationship ends, it's not that I was expecting or I was like, okay, on October, this is gonna be over. Like, this is just for.
Mhm.
Oh,
Just
you
for
lied.
tonight.
This is just for Cammy.
Yeah.
Like, that's not the
Just for the weekend.
So Jolene, you don't understand why some people come for a fun time. and not a-
Exactly. If that makes like why give yourself to someone for just
And then
and then we're thinking I'm
Yeah.
sorry
I
and then we're
didn't
thinking
like
like the emotional and then we're thinking about like the emotional piece of like I'm sorry when people say well there's no emotion to it, like obviously there's some sort of emotion because you're attracted to the person
And you're giving part of yourself to
Giving-
that person. when
exactly.
You are, even if it's
That's what
just
all you
4 minutes or 3 or however
Yeah.
long.
Or a night.
Yeah, no, but yeah,
Or a night,
if it's temporary. And so I do think that it's how can I grow from this relationship, right? And so I want to know what type of wife I'm going to be. Not necessarily that at 14 I'm looking for my husband,
yeah.
but I'm trying to figure out how to have a healthy relationship, what that looks like, what I like in a young man, what I like in a young lady, and what I don't, what I can live with, what I can't live with. I think if you approach it that way, you're less likely. I don't want to use the word burn. You're less likely to get hurt. Yes, what were you
Your
gonna say?
question.
Finally.
Finally.
So I wanted to ask, like Cameron was, and I think you were also saying, like, if you're with someone and then she can't, like, you're looking for something and you're saying that like she should, like, I'm taking it from like she's that way. If they don't communicate, let's say like they communicate with you
Mhm.
that okay, you're lacking in this and this is kind of what like I need. What if that's something that they don't know how to give you or they can't or were never taught how to do that? Then what happens?
What do you do?
Yeah.
I think if I love her, right, and I want this relationship to progress, like I don't want it to be static. I don't want it to just be like, you know, we have the greatest weekend every weekend because we go to, I want it to really grow, right? I do have to convey what I'm needing. This is what I need from you. This is what I want from you. And you decide whether you can and want to meet that need. Like really, they may be more needy than you're expecting, more vulnerable than you're able to support, right? So I think those are the things a man, you're asking a man, right? Like this in general, yeah. So I think men are very simplistic. Like we like to solve problems, but we're also not always emotionally able to communicate what it is. So sometimes you gotta ask directly, what am I not doing? What is missing? What are you missing
Yeah.
from me? That makes it.
And then that's partially what makes it so confusing for men sometimes is a woman or a girl will say something completely abstract to what the man understands, like emotionally. And it's, I don't know how to word it 'cause I'm still young, so I'm still figuring out myself. But sometimes someone, and this is coming from me with like female friends because I haven't gotten to this point yet, personally in a romantic relationship. But like a female friend would tell me something that happened to them emotionally or something, and look for a solution or help to the problem. And as a man, you say, "Oh, you can solve it, but doing this, this, and this."
Yeah.
But sometimes you just need to listen. Like sometimes listening is the answer.
All the time. I don't need you to fix it.
Just
Yeah,
listen
just
to me.
listen.
Literally, yes.
As a man, it's like, okay, but if I listen, the problem's still there.
Yeah.
How do I fix the problem?
But that's not what you're there for. But that's not what I'm requesting.
Yeah. No, and that's not always my space.
Yeah.
Unless you have to make that clear.
Yeah,
Clear,
yeah.
yeah.
That I don't need you to. You can tell me how to fix it later.
Yeah.
But right now, because I'm still upset.
Yeah.
Because
Just-
I feel like with that would. I mean, this has happened to me before. And that would kind of irritate. That would kind of irritate me. Like you just do this. I can't right now. I'm upset.
Yeah.
Like just listen. Just listen. Give me a hug, and then you can tell me how to fix it later. But I'm not upset.
I think that works for parents and children as well though, because I've had
Talk
so
about
many
it.
talks. I had one last night with my mom where I was talking to her and she's trying to solve my problem as I'm ranting to her, and I'm like, Mom, it was my fault because I should have made that clear when I first came to the conversation. But you have to say, Mom, just listen to me. I'm already figuring out how to solve it myself. I'm not trying to like take away from what you're able to do to help me, but I just want you to listen to me because you're my safe space. I think that's what they need to hear.
Yeah.
With parents, if you solve every problem for your kids,
They're never gonna figure it out.
They're
they're
gonna
gonna
become
grow up and they're not gonna know how to
dependent.
solve problems by themselves.
Yeah.
So
And I think that's good to hear because I think as parents you want to.
Yeah.
Right.
You think it's
And
your
we-
job.
Yes, and we think when you bring it to me, you're like, hey, how do I?
Yeah.
Instead of guess what happened. Right. And I think
Right.
that's the miscommunication. And I would just before we give our last closing statement, I would just say on both sides, man, woman, girl, boy, female, male, say what you need. We were in Phoenix, it was 110 degrees,
Ooh.
and it was a man walking up and down the street homeless. He like, anybody got blue Gatorade? He didn't want water, he didn't want orange, he specifically wanted blue Gatorade. That's where his need was. So I think if in our relationships, if we communicate what we actually need as specifically as possible,
I'll look for
it's
him.
best. So with our last minute and a half, share in
15 seconds.
30 seconds. No, 30 seconds.
Sorry.
Maybe I should
30
answer
seconds.
this
No,
one.
share in 30 seconds. What you think your parents, your church, your school community, whatever, could do to help you have better relationships.
Oh, we don't have to start with me.
Oh, I can-
No, anyone. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
looking at it
Okay.
right
I think it's a thing of, I can speak for myself, but me, I'm a person, I would like someone to relate to me.
Mhm.
So like share your experience and share what you've been through. Give me advice without telling me what to do.
Mhm.
Like, just be relatable and listen and share. Oh, I went through the exact same thing and I'm okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? So just share how relationships were for you, even if it's embarrassing.
Mhm.
Like it helps
Especially-
us to
Exactly.
grow,
Mhm.
and we can maybe have a little laugh. too,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So like just make sure you're making me feel comfortable and I feel comfortable with you, and just share your experiences.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You got it?
You can go.
I was gonna say,
Somebody go.
yeah, one thing I would say is not being afraid to step out of your comfort zone. And that goes for every type of relationship. I can say at least 3 of us on the panel today, this is out of our comfort zone, but it's building a relationship between Oakwood and Ventus Academy and First Church. And if more people are willing to step out of their comfort zone, you can build a relationship with someone that you never knew you could build a relationship.
That's good.
I was just gonna say encouraging and supporting, and not just, like we mentioned before, not just discouraging because, you know, you guys are the adults, you guys have done this before and we're just doing it in this 21st century and we're trying to figure it out just the same way you were. And allowing us also to make mistakes and to try to figure things out on our own, because even though your role as a parent or as an administrator, whoever, has been to guide the young people, sometimes we gotta figure it out on our own. And sometimes your advice is great, but telling us what we should be doing is not always helpful, and instead just letting us experience it and being there for us when we need you for comfort and support. I think that's the biggest thing.
I would also say listen to what your child or whoever, like when they're talking to you, listen to what they're saying. I know a lot of times, especially us as teenagers, we don't want to say anything because we think you're going to use it back in our faces, like in an argument or whatever the case may be. So if I say something to you in like confidence and trust, just listen to what I'm saying and don't try to save it in the back of your mind like a file and be like, okay, now I can press send and boom, put this back in your face. So I would say listening to what your child's saying, and that's what, like, a little bit of what Anaya was saying. Like, yes, we can laugh it off, but like, I'm not gonna use it in your face. Like, think about where you were at our age. Like, don't act like this never happened to you.
Right.
So listen to what we're saying. Like Eden said, like, now if there's extreme circumstances, please step in.
Absolutely.
Please step in.
Yes.
But other than that, like, listen to what we're saying. And at the end, like, this is all from a teenage point of view. We're not telling you how to parent.
No.
We're not telling you kids, like, to go out there and do your own thing, because parents, you know your child. You know what type of menace you might be raising.
She said it, I did.
So,
All comments too.
No. Let's be for real though. Some kids, like, some of this advice that we said worked for us, but it won't work for other kids.
and
so.
we're students who, as Ms. Dunn was saying, handle our business. Whereas your child may not. So discernment of
She's coming for everybody today. All right, well,
Well,
happy
he said
Sabbath.
but yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, this is from our point of
Yeah.
view. Take it or leave it, but this is like what we experience. We're all seniors in high school, so we're about to walk into our own journeys
figuring
of
it out,
lives.
too.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure it out. But this is like what we've from our 4-6 years of like from middle school to now of like relationships, and we're still learning, like Eden said, of how to navigate different types of relationships.
Well, see, there you have it. You see why I got them, and you will see them again. I thank you for joining us today. I thank the Owassa leaders. This has been the first word where we let God have the last word. He says to you, I no longer call you servants, I call you friend. So do that for somebody else today. Be a friend, share this information so that the people that you know and love can get some good insight. All right, we'll see you next time.
Happy Sabbath.
Bye.